Hello friends, welcome to Java AWT tutorial. So in this sub-series we are developing a simple drawing application, and this is a part 2 video. Here we are going to perform line drawing. So this video uses a previously created frame window. So if you already have frame window, you can simply proceed with this video. Or if you want to know how to create frame window, watch our playlist 04 Java AWT and video 01. That means the very first video. So here it is shown in the clip 01 Java AWT frame windows demo. So after watching this, you can watch our sub-series part 0 and part 01. Or if you just want to know that how to perform a line drawing and you claim that you have you can manage, then you can directly go ahead with this video. So in part 1 we actually created these controls: draw line, draw rect, freehand, rubber band, and two labels. Now here in this video we are going to implement draw line. So to draw a line we need 2 points, right? Let's say this is point 1 and this is point 2. So the line will be drawn between these 2 points. Right, so that's how we will draw a line. So we need a 2 point. So if both points exist at the same location, then we will not consider this as a point. I mean, we will not consider this as a line. So these 2 points should be apart from each other, then we can draw a line. So what we are going to do here, we will handle, okay, before that, what user will do. So first user will do mouse press at point 1, then they drag their mouse, then they will release their mouse at point 2. Right, so if you see here clearly, we need to handle 3 events. So one is mouse press, mouse release, and mouse drag. So that's what we are going to do. So we already implemented mouse listener and mouse motion listener. Right, so from mouse listener we are going to handle pressed as well as released. Then in mouse motion listener we will handle the drag event. So what happens at mouse press, we will, so remember we declared members, right? Point 1, point 2, first point, second point. So we will store first point here, then when we release the mouse we will store second point. So that means user should press here at point 1, they should not release their mouse and they should move to point 2. So that means it's actually a drag. So at point 2 they will release the mouse. So when they release the mouse, we have 2 point P1 and P2. Alright, now P1 and P2 we are storing it as a member, like first point and second point. So with this data we will perform a line drawing in our paint method. So here is what we are going to do in our in this video. So what we will do, first we will override paint method. So in part 0 video we talked about paint. So AWT frame window will call this paint method whenever you call a repaint. So it will actually erases the background. That means it repaints the background, erasing all the foreground stuff, then calls the paint method. So that means we will perform our line drawing in this paint method. Then we will handle mouse press. Why? Because this paint method requires 2 point, right? To perform a line drawing we need a 2 point P1 P2. That means P1 P2 we need to store before reaching to this paint method. So we will handle mouse pressed. So in mouse pressed we will store point P1, then in mouse released we will store point P2. So with this P1 and P2 in paint method we will actually perform the line drawing. So what user has to do, first they will click this draw line. So once they click that, here in the mode you will see that draw line will appear. After that they move to this drawing area, then they do mouse press, they drag and they will release mouse at P2. Once they does that, a line will appear between these 2 points. Let's do this. This is where we left in the previous part. So if you see, so to quickly explain what we did in the previous video, we implemented a Haldi listener, action listener, mouse listener and mouse motion listener. Then we have declared some member variables, draw mode, first point, second point, then a display mode and the checkbox. After that we created this and added to the command panel. This just to create the UI. Then in the action performed we actually set the drawing mode. Then we will set first point and second point to 0. So if you want to quickly see, so this is what we did. When you click draw line, the mode will appear here at the bottom. Now we will perform line drawing. That means we need to click draw line, then we should perform line drawing. So the draw mode is already set and you can see that here we use get action command and we will set the draw mode. So the draw modes are line D, direct D and freehand. So now what we have to do, we should perform the drawing, and if you see we don't have paint method here. So that's the first thing we will do. Now let me double click this area. So at present we are in a frame window. So here I am right clicking it. Then I'm choosing source, override or implement methods. I'm clicking this. So if we see, we have a paint method here at window. We are going to use the window.paint. So here we are overriding the paint graphics method from the window. So we want to add it as a last member. And you can see the paint method here. We will clear the paint method of the base. Now we will go to mouse pressed. Why? Because, let me explain it once again. User will click draw line here, then they will press down the mouse more, then they will release, and they want to see a line here. So what we need to do, we need to store 0.1 here in mouse pressed, then 0.2 here in mouse released. If you see here, first we are setting the first point and second point location as 0, 0. This is just a reset. Then we actually store the first point dot so we will use the same set location, and it needs X and Y. So X, we can take it from this mouse event. So here we are getting mouse event. The event is routed here when user pressed down the mouse button. So when user pressed down the mouse button, this event tells at what location they pressed the mouse left button. So here we are not handling left or right, so you can actually press down any button. Alright, so here we are using e dot get X, then e dot get Y. That's all. Now here we stored the first point. Alright, so we handled the mouse pressed. Now we will go to mouse released. So as you guessed, here we will actually store our second point. If you see here, first we are resetting the first point and second point when mouse is pressed. Then we set a location for first point. Then in mouse released, we set location for the second point. So we use the same mouse event E, and this E will tell at what location user released their mouse button. So this way we store both the point, first point and second point. So how do I force that AWT should call this paint? So what we will do here, we will say repaint. So repaint will do two action. First, it will erases the background. That means it will erase the foreground. It's kind of a painting. Let's go to paintbrush. Let's say user had drawn something here like this. So what so what AWT will do, it will erases the background. If you see here, the brush is white, and the brush will do like this. So it will just erases the background completely. So this is what it does. So it brushes the entire area from here to here. So this way, this will clears all the foreground stuff. Then what happens? Then the repaint, so as shown in paintbrush, it completely brushes the area with the background color of the window. That means it will clear all the foreground. Then it will make a call to paint. So whatever we draw, that will appear as brush. So if we draw two line, let's say user is in draw line mode, they drawn one line, so that line will appear, and when they draw second line, since it erases the background, the first line goes off and the second line will appear. Alright, now let's do the painting. So this is our sample file, right? Let's put the commenting. So this is our code snippet 2. At snippet 5 we used mouse pressed and set first point, and snippet 2 we set our second point. Then we are asking the AWT to refresh the drawing area and call the paint method. So the paint method is ready here. We will do our line drawing. Before that, if you see here, we are using the mouse pressed and mouse released. So we have mouse listener, and we have the method also ready to method. What is not yet done is registering our frame window with the mouse listener. So here if you see, we are registering our frame window with this mouse listener. So add mouse listener this. So this means the frame window which implemented the mouse listener interface. Let's do save all. So in the paint method, we are actually going to perform all the drawing, whether it is a line or rectangle or a freehand drawing. So we will use first point and second point to perform the drawing. Even for rubber banding also we will do the same thing. Alright, so first let's talk about this line drawing. So when both points are equal, first point and second point, why we are checking this? So when both points are equal, we are returning it. I'll tell why we are checking this. Let me run this one. So I'm not setting any drawing mode. Let's say user just clicked here. So here point 1, point 2 will be at the same location, and we don't want to draw anything. So that's why we are checking this condition here. Remember in the action performed, we are actually storing the draw mode, and draw mode, if you see, we declared it as a class member. So once user click any of those three buttons using the get action command, we store this draw mode. Here are the action set action command for those three buttons: line D, rect D, and free H. So now what we will do, we will form a switch case based on this draw mode. So this will be our switch case, draw mode, that member we are using. Draw mode will have any of these three value when user clicked the button. So now we are going to perform line drawing here. So ultimately we will add code here in this particular case. So here what we will do, we will use g dot. So this is the method we are going to use. So the significance of this method is 4 point. So x1, y1, that denotes point 1. x1, v1, we actually have that in first point. Then x2, y2, we have that in second point. So here if you see, it is looking for integer parameter, but what we stored is a point. So this one is from java.awt package point, and if you look at here, a point representing location of x and y. So from here, from this point, we can extract those location. So when we make a call to that API, it will look like this: g.drawline. Then we are, let me display this, x1 y1, then x2 y2. So x1 y1, we are taking it from a first point, then the other two parameter we are taking it from a second point. All right, that's all here. Now we will test it. Let me check once again. Okay, mouse listener is there. So this is where we actually make mistake. Then second stuff, repaint is called here. All right, now let's run this. Remember, so if I click, drag and release, nothing happens because we haven't selected the mode. Here this is looking for a drawing mode. So the drawing mode is set in the action performed. So we have to click the button draw line. So now we are in a line drawing mode. Now the second action here is press the mouse button, drag and release, and you can see the line is drawn. So now we will draw one more line from this, from here to here. But if you see, this line will get erased. Why? Because we are making call to repaint. So as shown in the paintbrush, this will erases everything, then calls our paint method. So now I'm releasing here, and if you see, the second line is drawn. That's all here in this demo. Next we will, in the next video we will see how to draw a rectangle, then we will look at freehand, then finally we will look at rubber band. So rubber banding is nothing but, see here, now here I am pressing here and I am moving mouse. So when I am moving mouse, I want to see the stretched line between the first point and this second moving point. So that's what called rubber banding, and we will do that rubber banding for both line and rect in the last video, in the final video. So in the next video we are going to concentrate on draw rect. That's all here. We just implemented this draw line. Just now you saw how we performed, how we implemented this draw line. So as I already told, P1, it was recorded in the mouse press, then P2, that means point 1 and point 2, that's the variable we used. So we stored point 1 in mouse press. The user will drag mouse and release the mouse at some other point P2. So in the mouse release, we use the mouse event T, and we will use get X and get Y. Then we will construct the, point 2 was already constructed. We use the set location method to set that X and Y location for point 2. So here we doesn't call repaint. Why? Because we need to know point 2 to perform a line. But when we user releases the mouse, we capture the point 2, then we will make a call to repaint. Then we also overridden the paint method, this paint method. Then we make use of the graphics object. Then we called g.drawline. Then we make use of point 1 and point 2 to pass all 4 parameters. That's all here in this video. In the next video, we will see how to implement draw rect. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for next video. Bye.